literally everybody. Get back to his home. We can show up on time. Oh, there he is. Sorry, my bad. I wasn't bad-mouthing you or anything.
Trash.
Can you hear me all right? Because I'm trying to run it through the truck audio instead of trying to do a headset. And last time I did it, it seemed to work okay, but I don't know. I can't hear me, so I don't know what I sound like.
I mean, it sounds a little like you're in a like a tunnel, but I mean, other than that, it's okay.
Yeah,
like you're coming through clear. It just sounds like a echoey.
The mic is like right up there, and the only way for me to get closer to it would be to basically stick my face in the rearview mirror. So I don't know
how that would work.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the safest driving situation. And I've already gotten yelled at by a 14-year-old who's never driven that I'm not driving good, just because I almost slammed into those dumbasses who all slammed on their brakes so they could make a turn when there was literally no one stopping them from making the turn. Like, I don't understand.
Wait until he has to do it.
Indiana people seem to feel this need to come to a complete stop to make a turn. Like,
well, that happens some in Alabama too, but yeah. Oh, you'll lose him.
They're really slow down that much, especially not to come to a complete stop. But they will come to a dead fucking stop in order to turn. Like, what? I'm going to run you bastards over. Like, just tap the brakes enough to not flip it, and Dukes of Hazzard your ass around there. Like, I don't.
Yeah, whip it. I mean, like they don't want to whip it. Like they're just like, oh no, if I do that, that'll be a little bit, dangerous or something. It's like, oh, come on. Come on, Grandma. I know you drove way more dangerous whenever you were like a teenager.
Yeah.
Come on.
See, that's why I love my grandmother, because she does 70 everywhere. Like, still, she no chill on that woman. Why are you looking at me like that? Okay. So anyway, what are we getting? Dude, you realize we're coming into a construction zone. There's no reason to ride everybody. See, I should stop. I should stop carrying my gun, because I'm gonna end up just like cracking some off at these idiot motherfuckers. I have driven.
Just carry your spear. Like,
I've driven significant amounts in 25 different states, and I can easily say this is the worst. Like, people always say New Jersey. I'm like, no, New Jersey drivers aren't bad. They just do 90 everywhere. So if you are not willing to do 90 everywhere, yes, you probably think New Jersey drivers are bad, because they're going to run you off the fucking road if you're not going to run with them. But then if you're willing to do 90 miles an hour, you are going to get from point A to point B faster than you've ever gotten there before. Like, but you've got to be ready to drive that way. And like, but around here, it's not like, some of them drive way too fast, some of them drive way too slow. Some people drive dead on the speed limit. They all come to a complete stop to make a turn. Like, if anybody sees a police car, we are now doing 15 under the speed limit. I'm like, you realize just because there's a cop car doesn't mean you have to stop doing the speed limit. Like, I think in New Jersey, if they see a cop car, that's like a challenge. Like, come catch me, motherfucker.
Yeah. See that's how they are here in Alabama too about it, because if you see the cop car, like the assumption is that they're out to get you specifically or whatever. Like, they're trying to like pull you over. I mean, that's why I most of the time I just go exactly the speed limit. I go up to it, maybe 5 over. You go 5 over, and typically even 5 over, like, they won't pull me over. Like, they just won't. Like, it's not worth their time. Like, I mean, now if I'm going 10 or more over, yeah, you're probably gonna get blue lighted quick. But I mean, if you're just 5, 6, 6, 7. Now there is some of the, depending on, like, that's county cops though. City cops are different. Like some of the city cops, they're weird because they'll be like, you'll be like, my dad was going like 31 in a 25, and the city cop like just flips his lights on. He basically gave him a warning, like trying to, like, hey, slow down. He didn't pull him over, but I mean, he was about to turn around and get him if he didn't slow down. So I don't know. They're just kind of weird about it. Like they'll be kind of, I don't know. They got something up their crawl.
I didn't flip any. There's a crop duster flying around, and he was pointing at it, and so I was pointing at it back, and he thought I flipped the crop duster off. Like that would. That's why you do this. Like that would even accomplish anything. Like he could see me. The joys of raising a child. Speaking of,
I get to look forward to that.
Yeah, you do get to look forward to that. Speaking of the joys, okay, maybe I am a bad driver. That's a rumble strip there. Speaking of the joys of raising a child, NATO seems to have abandoned their favorite child. You got the picture of Zelensky looking dejected as everybody's like shaking hands and patting each other on the back. He just stands there looking like the nerdy kids who got left out of everything.
Wait, oh man, I bookmarked. There was a great tweet about that. Somebody made like a meme about that whole thing. Hold on, where is it at? Oh god, I thought I bookmarked it. Oh no.
And you know what was really funny was you've got like fucking Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and all the goddamn war hogs out here like, yeah, we've got to let Ukraine into NATO and blah 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 blah, and then they didn't do it. Like, was that like 40? Was that like 40?
So it's F Zelensky now, huh? Y'all saying Zelensky can't get Putin? Zelensky ain't no hitter. He just. I'm gonna show y'all. I can start World War III all by myself. I love Flex's commentary here is a little hilarious. Like, and then all of a sudden it shows like him and like Osama bin Laden and Gaddafi, and I don't know who this. But yeah.
Yeah. You got his Saddam Hussein. Who else?
Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi.
All of the overthrown world leaders that.
Yeah.
They're just stand against the regime.
But dude, this is just peak sad. Because like he was saying, okay, we want to be admitted in NATO, and then all of a sudden they're like nope. And it's like he's like, what? Here's his actual statement. His statement sounds like weak. Like he's just he sounds like he's so sad. Like he's crying. He's crying mad. Like he's so angry. Like, but he's also crying at the same time. Let's see here. We value our allies. We value our shared security, and we always appreciate an open conversation. Ukraine will be represented at the NATO summit because it is about respect. But Ukraine also deserves respect. Now, on the way to Vilnius, we received signals that certain wording is being discussed without Ukraine. And I'd like to emphasize that this wording is about the invitation to become NATO member, not about Ukraine's membership. What does that even mean? That's the same thing.
Well, whether or not they get an invitation is different than whether or not they actually get membership. Like, they may invite them
to become a member, but they don't actually admit them. Oh, okay.
They don't have
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they don't have. They can invite them to come and apply for membership.
Participate in that.
Yeah, but they don't have to actually grant them membership. So it's kind of this. It's kind of like a token gesture of, hey, like
we invited you, and then we invited you to the party, but you're not going to like actually get into the party. I guess like we sent you an invitation, but then when you get here, we're gonna deny entry because we invited you to come. We didn't actually invite you into the party or whatever. I guess.
Right.
We didn't actually admit you into the party.
But you don't. You can eat at the buffet, but you don't get to use the open bar, and you got to pay for your own drink.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically what they said. Yeah.
Okay, so
but it is funny because all of NATO has been aiding them.
Do you think that maybe all of the Republicans coming out saying we need to let Ukraine in was like 40 chips? Like then all of NATO is like, oh man, if all of these like Republican war hawks think we need to let them in, then that means we absolutely cannot let them in. Like that, we've got to like. Was this
no,
like
I think maybe by some of them, but not like. But like Lindsey Graham is legit. He's like like he's ride or die like war like kind of stuff. But like as far as some of the other war hawks, like I don't think Tom Cotton necessarily like really cares. I mean, I think he's just trying to like play to the base or whatever.
Lindsey Graham is John McCain 2.0, just a little more fruity. Like at least McCain
he just swings like more one way than the other compared to John McCain. John McCain, at least we presume, was mostly straight. Graham is like Graham might be a switch, you know.
Or at least back in the day, back in the day when she was younger, she was fairly hot. She hasn't aged particularly well. Have you seen Meghan McCain's husband? He's like jacked. He's like a dude.
Yeah. I'm surprised like she got with him because like he could probably have his pick of like women. I would assume like that dude. I mean, he's like lumberjack status. Like,
I wonder how much of her whole personality is just like a shtick. Like it's something that she does and may not necessarily reflect who she is. Because he's like, you know.
I think her hatred of Trump is a stick. I don't like. I think the rest of her personality may be kind of just like the catty woman behavior. But like the hating Trump is like a stick because that's a good grift, you know what I mean? Like to hate Trump.
Yeah, there's definitely a certain Republican base that you can play that card to and get some notoriety, I guess, for lack of a better
Speaking
word.
of playing that card too, I mean, did you see sort of like the DeSantis campaign? I mean, they basically have collected all of the Never Trump guys, and they're trying to they're polling like even basically with Vivek Ramaswamy or whatever. Like he's not polling. I mean, take polls for what you will, right? But according to polls, he's basically even with Vivek, which is really freaking sad for like DeSantis like hopes for being president.
I have similar feelings about DeSantis and his presidential campaign as I did about like the prospect of Dave Smith running for president. Like that's an easy position to have in 2021, coming on the heels of the whole COVID thing in 2020, all of the election craziness of 2020, with rolling lockdown, impending vaccine mandates, all of this other stuff, to just take a.
But there's a different narrative for 2024. I mean,
right, to take a particular position on that, like. If the presidential election was happening in 2022, then they would have been perfectly set up for it, but it wasn't. And now the world is like that was a flash in the pan. Like that, the new normal never became the
normal,
long-standing new normal. We have to a large degree gone back to just normal. Like. Nobody's talking about booster number 7 because
even everywhere can't sustain the mask mandates or anything. Like even the places that want to like have that mask mandate, they've been told by courts like no, you can't, and all this kind of stuff. And so
right,
I mean,
like the whole thing that made 2021 what it was. The world is different 2 years, 2 years later. So the things that made DeSantis seem like the ideal candidate. Then that's not the world we live in, and doesn't really like. That's an excellent calling card to have if you're going to be the governor of Florida. It doesn't really play on a national stage, and especially when you're trying to go against Trump, who Trump doesn't care. Like, he's just going to swing and take shots at everybody. And the DeSantis response to those shots have seemed either childish or have just fallen completely flat. Like, he hasn't been able to. If he just ran like a clean campaign and stayed out of the muck and the dumbassery, he might have had a good chance. But
he rolled it. He rolled in the mud with the pig, and then he's wondering why the pig is
started trying to play that game, and he is not built for that game. So, like, he put himself in a bad position. DeSantis should pull back, focus on Florida, and just be king of Florida, and not worry about anything.
2028, and maybe by then he can muster something. I mean, I don't. Even then, I don't know, because like if 2028 is going to be like this 2024 campaign, like, do I really want DeSantis to be president? I mean, I really don't know. I don't necessarily like everything that Vivek's saying, but like if you have to pick, like, force me to choose on a national scale, like, who do I think can win and who do I think is a better performing candidate, I'm gonna say Vivek. Like, I mean, that's just like a gut instinct to me says that he would probably perform better. I mean, other than the fact that just like the way the notoriety DeSantis has gained for being king of Florida. I mean, that's the only advantage he has. Like, oh, Florida's good and people like Florida, and DeSantis is the governor of Florida. But as soon as he's out of that, then I don't know.
I don't like Vivek at all. He's like, I feel like he's.
I feel like he's
He's Woodville GOP. I just don't like him. I don't know. I don't know enough about him to have a really solid opinion, but from the little that I have seen, he doesn't give me great feelings about him as a candidate. I'm sure he's good on some things, but just overall, I'm not particularly.
Well, he was basically saying, like, he would, if China did anything, or if the cartels didn't stop, then he would basically want to go to war with the cartels in Mexico, which is kind of a dumb position. But I mean, I don't know. I just the vibe I get from him is I feel like a lot of times I think that's how more people vote anyway. Is like, how do you feel about the candidate more than what I mean, some of the policies are good, like Trump saying he wants to be tighter on immigration. That's sort of a good GOP position to have, the best GOP position to have for the voting base, and that's where I think a lot of the misalignment happens with, like, the GOP, like, politics versus the actual voting base, like, depending on their platform positions and everything. So I don't know. I just I get the same vibe you're talking about from DeSantis, though. Sometimes, I mean, I like some of what he says, but then there's also the like weird moments where he's, like, he won't just say, I want, peace. Like, he's not for between Ukraine and Russia. Like, basically that's what Trump has been saying, since the campaign started. Is like, I'll do whatever it takes to stop this war. It doesn't matter like what, but like, essentially DeSantis, the way he was saying is like, okay, well, basically Ukraine needs to win, and that's what we need to. But he didn't say that. But that's kind of what he's insinuating, is like, well, we want to put Ukraine in the best strategic position. Mealy mouth stuff. I don't know. I don't like it. I much prefer something more direct, of just like, hey, this is what we're gonna do. I don't know. It's just a weird situation to be in, because I don't know. Obviously, this is Trump's return. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Trump is going to come back, and he's going to be the one for 2024. But after that, I really don't know what direction are they going to go. I mean, and that's going to be determined, I guess, later.
That's what I was about to say. Was the best bet for the GOP right now is to just every other candidate pull back and let it be the fucking Trump show, and not even like just the Trump show. Let it be the fucking Trump show. Like, let him go and do everything he's going to do and be as insane as possible, lean into all the lawsuits, make a circus of it, and just go punch them in the face over and over and over again with his just him being him. Like, let him do it.
Let the bull destroy the China shop. Let the bull destroy the
let him have at it. Let him have free run to just do whatever the fuck he wants and make a spectacle of it. And then see what shakes out. Because otherwise, if you don't, as the GOP, if you don't do that, then everybody who's involved ends up in a DeSantis position where you get drugged into the circus instead of getting to watch and learn from what's going on. Like, just pull back and let it happen.
Because even though DeSantis wants to be the cleaner version of Trump, you've got to take what there's something about Trump that draws people to him. You've got to take the good parts of that, and then there's also the part that I guess that kind of repulses people. So you got to go, okay, well, what is that? I mean, not to say that you want to be like the necessarily the middle ground, because you do want the left to hate you. I mean, that's or a good Republican obviously is going to make like the left hate him. Like that's the ultimate goal, right? Like you want them to not like you, but you want them to not like you for the right reasons, not like Bush era, like, oh, they don't like you because you're staying too long in this war or some stupid crap. You want them to hate you for the reasons that, like, okay, you know, he's stopping immigration, he's doing these kind of things that are more Republican centric, and focusing on our, you know, the U.S. and its, you know, national priorities, and trying to get production back here in the U.S. and doing these kind of things that are more in line with Republican values.
Yeah, not stepping for Ukraine and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Go make them mad for the right reason.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got on the
speaking of the war in Ukraine, I guess we can include this clip because this was interesting. I saw you posted this clip.
The Secretary's a few things. So I will say, with respect to your first question, we believe the war has been a strategic failure for Ukraine. The Secretary spoke to this in a speech he gave in Helsinki last month, I believe it was. What's that? I'm sorry, a strategic failure for Ukraine. Thank you for the correction. Which is, I need more than one correction today. A strategic. This is the first time at the podium for a week. I'm apparently a little rusty.
I mean, I think he was. This is a Freudian slip, obviously, because.
Well, I mean, the funniest thing about it is he says this has been a strategic failure for Ukraine, and they're like, "Don't you mean it's been a strategic failure for Russia?" He's like, "Oh yes, you're right. It's been a strategic failure for Ukraine."
They're basically kind of trying to like coax him into the right answer, like the like after that. It's hilarious.
Did you see where? When they were, so I think we talked about the cluster munitions thing last week. Like, yeah. So when they were asking Joe Biden, like, why are we sending cluster munitions that are widely recognized by most of the United Nations and NATO as being like illegal and war crimes, why are we sending these munitions to Ukraine? And he said, well, they're running out of ammo. We got to send them something. Like, wait, are you? And then he went on, and this was like just an off the cuff, like somebody asked him as he was walking down the street or something, and he said that. And then he goes on an actual interview on it was either NBC or MS or CN. It was either NBC or CBS. But anyway, he goes on like an actual interview, and he says it again. He says, well, they're running out of ammunition, so we've got to provide them with something so they can keep fighting. Like, dude, are you like openly admitting on television that they are out of ammunition? Like, just tell Russia, hey, it's time to start making your final push. Like, these motherfuckers are done for.
Are you giving away like actual war secrets, like from the actual like conflict, like from the Ukrainian side? Like, Ukraine's out of ammunition. Russia, please push now, because before we can pass the legislation to send the cluster munitions.
And then all of a
here's
sudden,
your chance, Russia. Like secretly, Joe Biden is like a Russian simp. Like he is like a Russian agent or something like that. Like he's a double agent. he's been helping Ukraine, but he's actually wanting Russia to win. So he's been basically wasting Ukraine's time, sending them all this crap instead of actually deploying troops. And then he's just like, well, like they're out of ammunition, Russia.
well, somebody's sitting there like, who let walking around Biden talk to a reporter? Like that was the wrong body double to be talking to people. He's just supposed to be the one seen walking around. Nobody's supposed to put a camera in his face. Did y'all not tell the reporters this was only walking around Biden? This wasn't talking to people, Biden?
That's the like TV appearance Biden. That's not the like I guess information like debate style Biden, I guess.
Yeah, this ain't public speaking Biden. This is just out for show Biden. Oh my gosh, it's like this whole Ukrainian war thing has been such an interesting exercise in how the media twists things, because like by all accounts, Russia has been just smacking Ukraine down. Every Ukraine counteroffensive, every Ukrainian move has basically resulted.
But the media is telling me that Ukraine is one step away from pushing Russia back.
Right, like all of the actual information about what's going on over there tells us one thing very specifically, that Ukraine is getting their ass whooped. But if you listen to mainstream media, you would think, man, Russia is like on the verge of collapsing as a country. It's like about to lose this war. Like they're about to collapse. But none of the economic, none of the
sanctions
or whatever that they put on them, like none of the sanctions, none of that stuff has done anything. Like their banking system.
I actually strengthened them because the BRICS
like,
stuff. Yeah.
All of the energy stuff actually put them in a better position, because then when winter hit last year, you found out that all of Europe is like super reliant on Russia for their gas and energy stuff, and then Russia got to like do the ultimate flex and be like, no, you only pay us in rubles. We don't take any of your bullshit currency, and you pay us in our currency. And then you had you had like EU countries that were getting in trouble because they were like, yeah, I'm gonna pay them in rubles, because what am I gonna do? Like let my people freeze to death? Fuck you! Like, y'all are the ones who put these sanctions on them, not us. We got to play ball because we actually need to have gas and energy for not freezing our entire populace to death in the winter. It's just the whole thing has been one very clear story, and then the complete opposite story that's being told by the media, that don't believe what your eyes tell you, believe what we're telling you.
Yeah, don't believe your lying eyes. Basically, that's what they're trying to like convince you. It's like, don't believe your lying eyes, because they're telling you sweet lies or something, basically.
Just insane, man.
So how do you think it shakes out though? Like legit, do you think just Russia gets all the Donbass, Crimea? Do you think they get all of it? Like, or do you think they basically have to like take? Okay, we only get half of Ukraine, or you think they get all of Ukraine, like all the way to Kiev? I mean,
I don't think Russia wants all of Ukraine. Russia has always Crimea and Donbass, which are largely viewed as the Russian part of Ukraine anyway. Like, and that was the whole thing. Like I did an episode on my show of this, like tracking this whole thing back. Actually, it's today's episode. Came out at 6 o'clock this morning. Fact check this podcast for anybody interested in the whole story. But this shit starts all the way back in like 2008, and then it builds up to the 2014 U.S. coup that went on with replacing Ukrainian leadership and everything. But like they have been, the whole whole thing was the U.S. and NATO have been pushing Ukraine into all of these positions and have been effectively ostracizing and even like literally attacking and going after what have been historically viewed as the Russian portion of Ukraine. And so, like, and that was always Russia's position, was like, just leave them the fuck alone. Like, don't stop messing with them.
Well, didn't they even say, like, okay, well, like, just let them vote, and if they want to be part of Russia, they can, but like the whole point of the difference was like that, oh no, like they're basically, because they've been under Russian control, like they're brainwashed, so they can't make the vote.
They had a vote. They had a vote, and they voted to join Russia, and then Ukraine did that bullshit. Said no, the vote is invalid because they've been unduly influenced by Russian
propaganda or whatever. Yeah.
Russian propaganda or something like that. So like the vote doesn't count. So then they're like, okay, the people said they wanted to do this, but we're sorry you don't get to do this because we don't think you can actually make your own decision. So now we're just going to start firebombing you into oblivion because you wanted to leave. Like, that's more or less what happened. And that's like, if U.S. and NATO hadn't been pushing this the whole time and staging coups and doing all this bullshit, it never would have happened anyway. And they had it from different reports. On the table that Ukraine keeps everything else and they part ways and everybody fire and we get to resume peace. And the U.S. and NATO wouldn't allow that to happen.
They didn't want the ceasefire.
They wouldn't let them come to the table. And the really fucked up thing about the whole thing is, like, all of the military aid, the military aid that the U.S. has been sending over there, what that actually equates to is we send old equipment that we don't want or need anymore to Ukraine.
Decommissioned from our military. Right.
And then the financial side of the aid doesn't actually go to the financial side of the military aid doesn't actually go to Ukraine to buy them new equipment and stuff. It goes into the military industrial complex, to Raytheon and all of the other weapons manufacturers, for them to then build and make new equipment, which will go to our military. So this is all like a big recycling program to pump money into the military industrial complex, get all of the old equipment that we don't want or need out, and replace
some of it goes to the PMC companies.
Replace all of our equipment with new equipment. It's like it's a brilliant tactic. I mean, you know, the U.S. military will be stronger for it when it's all over with, and Ukraine will still end up fucking losing. So, like,
yeah. Yeah, it's one big cluster bomb.
Yeah, the war machine will churn on no matter what.
Well, speaking of conflicts and violence,
yes.
Apparently, Megan Rapinoe is blaming Dave Chappelle for violence against trans people.
If anybody watched Dave Chappelle's special and took away from that he was transphobic and that he hated trans people, they are fucking retarded. Like, that's the dumbest possible take that you could have from what he said and did on that special. Like, he literally talked about how much he respected this person. He brought her on as like the opener for his show and became friends with the person and helped them like develop their routine and like all of this stuff. Like, if you seriously sit there and listen to all of the things
he says he hasn't had friends like that, like that are whatever, I guess, trans. But he was
like if you
I just don't
to his
like that.
special and took away from that he was transphobic and hated trans people and was trying to incite violence against trans people, that's the dumbest possible. Like, they didn't listen to a goddamn thing he said. They only heard that Dave Chappelle is transphobic, and they ran with that. They didn't listen to any of the words that actually came out of his mouth.
Well, and here's the best quote from like the quote from Megan Rapinoe. It's particularly frustrating when women's sports is weaponized. She said, "Oh, now we care about fairness. Now we care about women's sports. That's total BS." And then show me all the trans people who are nefariously taking advantage of being trans in sports. It's just not happening. Maybe she should go up against a team of all trans women, and and then see how they fare, because I mean they've been getting their butt kicked by like 60-year-old men and teenage boys. So let's just, I guess, just see if a whole team of trans women actually beat the women's national team. Wouldn't that be funny?
Somebody needs to find like a upper tier, like club league type of a team, and get a men's team and get them all to grow their hair out and identify as women and go try out for the women's national team and just whoop these girls up and down the fucking court or field
Yeah.
all day long, and then be like, yeah, we have the same rights as you to be.
And then take their place, like take Megan Rapinoe's place. Like, oh, well, you're replaced, Megan Rapinoe. You're not as good as.
Because what are they gonna do? What's Megan Rapinoe gonna do? Complain that she just got her ass whooped by a bunch of dudes who identify as trans?
When that
women?
happens, yes, she will. Like, I guarantee she'll become Anna Kasparian. She'll become Anna Kasparian. If it actually happens, she will become Anna Kasparian. Like how she's been saying. You've seen the stuff she's been saying recently, like, "Oh, I don't want to be, called a birthing person or whatever," and all this kind of stuff. So that's basically what Megan Rapinoe is like. Oh well, maybe trans women don't need to just replace women in women's sports. Like, maybe they need to have their own category of sports. She'll do some like pivot. It'll still be progressive, but it'll be like it'll be like the pivot of like, hey. Suggest a smile more. I've never seen her smile other than like this weird like demonic. I don't know, like
somebody should probably tell her she just needs to calm down. Blowing this way out of proportion.
She needs to take a chill pill.
Take a breath. Yeah, just take deep breath. Count to 10. It'll all be okay.
Oh my gosh.
Speaking of the trans people, did you see the bonus hole thing?
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is great. The person defending it is even funnier. I thought this was a parody account, but this person defending it is even crazier, because apparently they're like, so I looked at this and I was like, okay, this has got to be a parody. Helen Weberly. I feel like that was trying. Like I was trying to see if that was like some kind of name or something like that. But no. Apparently, this has a whole charity and everything, and it's like humanity is inventing new language for years. No one batted an eye when we changed from ye old English. This like what's the problem with the language? Like we don't need to be anti-trans people. But here's from the actual article that everybody's been seeing. Vagina rebranded as bonus hole by cervical cancer charity. So if you're having cervical cancer, you're going to be classified as a bonus hole.
Well, it's for. So this is like a trans woman that has prostate cancer. So these are trans men who have cervical cancer, but they identify as men. So obviously, men don't have vaginas, so they just call it their bonus hole. I guess these are the trans men, are also known as biological women who didn't want to go through the trouble of having their forearm peeled off to create a fake limp noodle to hang in front of their crotch.
But what's the point? So, like, at what point do we say, okay, even if we're going to accept the premise of like that some people maybe they have some kind of delusion that they need to let's even be charitable, okay? Like even if I was charitable, like let's say some people actually feel that they need to be the opposite sex, right? So if a man wants to be a woman, why do they stop halfway? And why is there not that follow through of like, okay, if you really want to be a woman, you have to get, you know, your undercarriage has got to be worked on. Like you gotta swap the parts here. Like you can't just
But here's
be.
the problem. But here's the problem: is even if you do get the parts swapped out, I'm pretty sure you
Yeah,
still have a servant. So, like,
well, no, that's I'm not saying that that changes. I'm just saying that um I'm just saying like that the people, like all these people who are not changing, like not swapping, parts, why do they think that they okay, why is a trans woman who hasn't actually went through the surgery like have the same need to be on the same parity as a real woman, even if we're being charitable, like, okay, well, like a woman is a woman, right? Like if you have the right anatomy, you're a woman. I mean, obviously they'll never truly embody that, but like let's just say for the sake of not like causing as much conflict, let's just say if you actually go get your body changed, and then you're a woman, but they won't even follow through with all of it. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like that. Why is that there not that clarification? And why do they want to? Why do they want to do this like Dylan Mulvaney style thing of like, well, normalize the bulge and not like some women have bulges and like this half and half. Like you can't do half and half and then it still be. I guess to me, it's kind of like coffee. Like you can't be doing this half and half. Like if I'm gonna doctor it up and I'm gonna add cream to it, I'm gonna mix it up and make it into some kind of drink. I'm gonna need to do it all the way and not just sit there, not do it halfway, not just put a little half and half and call it a day. No, I need to fully doctor that coffee up and actually make it something that's worth drinking if I'm gonna do it that way, or I'm gonna just drink it straight black. That's the two ways to drink it. Either I'm gonna really doctor my coffee up, or I'm gonna drink it straight black. And that's, I mean, it's still it whether they say the non-binary or whatever, it still ends up being some sort of a binary choice, like in some way. I lost Justin. Oh no. Oh, there he is.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, terribly sorry. I went through the bottoms and lost everything. As is. All right,
I
I'm back.
mean, but yeah. So basically, I'm just saying, like, if we really wanted to play ball with what they're saying and wanted to be charitable about the way we're going about this, if they're going to be a woman, then they need to fully change over all the parts that they can, like to be a woman.
See, now you're trying to force them to conform to the beauty standards that have been set by men for so many years. That's not the way this works. My vagina can hang down 9 inches and swing freely if it wants to. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be,
They're gonna normalize the bulge. You know what I mean?
right. That's right. That's just that thick labia hanging there. Never mind the head on it and the fact that you still pee out of it and everything like that. You are trying to force all of these trans men and women to conform to your beauty standards, not the beauty standards that they hold for themselves. That's the thing nowadays. Is it's all about what's my truth and
Subjective. Yeah.
yeah.
Like
The science,
there is no objective. Like I understand there's a lot of things that are subjective, but like there's a lot of things that are just objective. Like there's a point where like, okay, this is objective beauty. Like there's no it's weird the way, like it's like the subject, like when people say like all art is subjective, that's just fundamentally false. Like if I show you a very well painted picture of a trash can, it's still a trash can. It doesn't make that a beautiful picture. Does I mean, it doesn't matter how beautifully painted the trash can is. If you've used all the bright colors to, you're showing all kinds of cool things that are in the trash can. You got all kinds of interesting things. Like I don't know, like colors and stuff like that make the trash can pop. It doesn't change the fact that it's a trash can. Like it's I don't know, that there is objective standards to certain things, and I think like going away from that has been a really big problem of saying like everything is subjective.
Well, that's like, I mean, now everything that is settled science is all based on pseudoscience. Like you can't have anything that's actually real or true. It's everything is based on how do you feel about it, and how you feel about it now is the truth, because there is no truth. It's all your truth, and the whole thing is. I know you've got to get to work here soon, so I feel confident in saying that the whole thing is pretty much fucking retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.